Good day, students. How are you all? I hope you all are doing good. So, in previous lesson, we started that new chapter called electromagnetism. In today's video, it is in the continuation of the same chapter, electromagnetism, and we are going to learn about the motor effect. What is motor effect? Basically, a current carrying wire possesses a magnetic field, right? And if this current carrying wire is placed in a magnetic field, it will experience a force. So we are going to learn about this phenomena, how it happens, and then later we will determine the direction of this force and the strength of this force, like what will be the direction of this force and how can we increase this force on a current carrying wire. That is the main objective of this video. So let's start. So as we learned in the previous video that a current carrying wire possesses a magnetic field, which I'm showing you over here, and it is in the circular direction. The idea of this motor effect is that what happens if this current carrying wire is placed in a magnetic field of a permanent magnet or any magnet for that matter. Like this current carrying wire possesses a magnetic field and it is placed in a place where there is already a magnetic field, right? Let me show you how. Let's place a permanent magnet and the direction of magnetic field is from north to south. So what will happen? The two magnetic fields will start interacting with each other. Magnetic field, we know that magnetic field is a vector quantity. So the two vectors in such scenario will interact with each other, and as a result they will produce a force, and that force I'm showing you over here. That force is basically, we know that magnetic field, inside the magnetic field any magnetic material experience a force of attraction or repulsion, right? So this current carrying wire, which is usually made up of copper or any conductor, is usually a magnetic material, right? So when these two magnetic fields interact, they will experience a force. The direction of this force can be in any direction. Like here I'm showing you that the two fields are interacting such that they are pushing this current carrying wire out of the field. It can be also inside the field, right? So basically it depends on the two quantities. The two quantities are the amount of current, the main components of this force, right, which is causing this force, amount of current, and the direction of field. Okay, and we learned in the first term portion of physics that when the two vectors interact with each other, they produce a resultant vector, right? And I'm sure that you are learning it in maths also, that the two vectors, whenever they interact, they produce a resultant force. The effect of these two vector quantities can either cause this force to be maximum or the minimum, right? So when this full force happens, in this situation, this full force happens when the direction of the current and the direction of magnetic field is at 90 degree. Okay, when the direction of current and the direction of this magnetic field is 90 degree, like here, see, you can see over here, it is 90 degree, it is making 90 degree. So the force experienced by this current carrying wire will be maximum or full force. Now if this direction of current carrying wire is little bit shifted like this, so that it is no longer making 90 degree angle, what will happen? The force will not be full. There will be some force, but it will not be the maximum force, right? And if we rotate this wire more such that the two things become parallel to each other or at 0 degree, means you can see over here that the direction of current and the direction of magnetic field from north to south is same. So the angle between these two forces will be 0. So in that situation, the force will be zero, or there will be no force at all. So this motor effect can be maximized when the direction of this current carrying wire is at 90 degree with the magnetic field, and can be minimized when this direction of current carrying wire is same as the direction of magnetic field. So means the angle is zero. So that is how we can maximize or minimize the amount of force. Then comes finding the direction of the force. What is the direction of the force? That can be, again, since it is caused by the two main things, the direction of current, the direction of force can be determined by the direction of the magnetic field, it depends, and the direction of the current. Because this force is caused by these two things, so the direction of these two things play an important role in order to determine the direction of the force. In the last video, we learned that the direction of magnetic field of a current carrying wire can be determined by right hand rule. You remember that? Similarly, over here, we can also determine the direction of this force by another rule, which is called Fleming's left hand rule. Fleming is the name of the scientist who proposed this idea, and this can be determined by using the left hand rule. Earlier we used right hand, right? Here in Fleming's left hand rule, we use three fingers, as you can see over here in the diagram: thumb, our first finger, and the second finger. There you have to curl up your fingers. In right hand rule, you have to curl your fingers and the direction of thumb should be outward, right? Here in Fleming's left hand rule, the direction of thumb should be upward, the first finger direction should be forward, and the second finger direction should be sideways towards the palm, inside the palm, right? So how they represent these three things, that's what I'm going to tell you. The first finger represents the direction of magnetic field. As you can see over here, the magnetic field is from north to south. So the first finger is also representing the same line. The direction of current is like this, towards inside. So the second finger represents the current direction. Okay, and the third finger or the thumb represents the force or the direction of the resultant force, which is caused by interaction of these two magnetic field. How you can learn it or memorize these three fingers and what they represent? The first finger represents field. First is starting from F and field is starting from F. Okay, so the first finger represents field. Word second has a C in it. So second finger represents the current. And the thumb represents force or thrust. This memorizing technique is mentioned in your book also, and the page numbers are mentioned in the description box. You can check from there also. So you can memorize it by this technique: first finger for field, second finger for current, C in it, second, and thumb represent force or the thrust. So the direction of force in this case is upward because this is the direction of force. Now let's take a deeper look or dig into this concept more, how this phenomena happens. For this case, let's take a horseshoe magnet, which is a permanent magnet. So horseshoe magnet has north pole and south pole, and let's put inside the three conductors in this form. The three conductors should be placed in this form so that the current can flow over here. These two, the one which are on the south pole, these two are the fixed conductors, whereas the third conductor over them is free to move over these two rails of conductor, you can say like this. Okay, so what happened when the current starts flowing? You can see now the current starts flowing. When the current starts flowing, they generate their own magnetic field. The magnetic field produced by the current will interact with the already present magnetic field of this horseshoe magnet, and because of this there will be a movement on this free wire. This free wire will experience a force, right? How can we determine this direction? We can determine it by Fleming's left hand rule. Here I have placed this hand in the opposite direction. So what we learn? We learn that the first finger represent magnetic field. So you can see over here, this first finger is downwards, right? Because the magnetic field is north to south. Then the second finger represents current, because you can see over here, this magnetic field this is the direction of current, and this is represented by the second finger. So the thumb will represent the force. So how this will roll out? This will roll, this free moving conductor, it will roll out in this direction, right? So this is how it works. What we learned? We learned that the direction of the force depends on the two quantities. If a free moving conductor is present in a magnetic field and current starts passing through it, it will experience a magnetic force. So we have discussed enough about the direction of this motor effect, that in which direction the current carrying wire present in a magnetic field will move, and that we can determine by the left hand rule. So now we are going to discuss the factors affecting the motor effect, that how can we increase or decrease this motor effect since it is produced by the two things, the magnetic field in which this current carrying wire is present and the quantity of the current, because the current itself is producing one of the magnetic field, right? So the two main things on which this motor effect will depend is the strength of the magnetic field. The first one is, by strength of magnetic field I mean that how powerful magnet you are using. As you may have noticed that sometimes magnets are very powerful and you can sense their magnetic effect, the force of attraction or repulsion, like really far away of this magnetic source, and sometimes it is so weak that even if you bring it nearer, like when you bring the material nearer to the magnet, then only it experiences the force of attraction or repulsion, right? So by increasing the strength of magnetic field, we can increase this motor effect. Next come the current, quantity of current. We learned that the current produces its magnetic field, and of course if you increase the current amount, means from 1 amperes the current starts flowing to 3 amperes in this current carrying wire, then of course the magnetic field it is producing will be stronger also. So if the two magnetic fields will be stronger, then of course they will produce a more powerful motor effect on this current carrying wire. And the last one is length of wire, which is not so obvious, but yes, length of wire also is one of the factors on which motor effect depends, because if you increase the length of wire, of course the more length of wire is going to experience more force, right? If you decrease the length of wire, then it will not be in the magnetic field, it is not utilizing the full space of the magnetic field, so this motor effect will be reduced. So these are the three factors by which you can increase or decrease this motor effect on current carrying wire. Yes, so we learned motor effect, and based on this motor effect, engineers designs electric motors which we use in our daily life quite a lot. In many home appliances or industrial purpose appliances, we use electric motors, which is based on the same phenomena. So we learned that a current carrying wire, when placed in a magnetic field, experiences a force, and this force can be determined using the Fleming's left hand rule. So you can see over here I have placed this left hand in the direction of the current and the magnetic field as shown. So what will be the direction of force? The direction of force will be upward as shown by the thumb, right? So what if I place another wire, and in this wire the direction of current is just opposite to that the direction of current in the first wire. As you can see over here, the direction of current in the first wire is coming outward, right, outward from the screen, and this direction of current is inward in the screen, right? So if you change your left hand according to the direction of the current, you will notice that the force direction will also be opposite. So this wire will experience the force downward as opposite to the first wire. You can try using this left hand rule. Also, it is little trickier, and some people might feel shakiness or trembling in the hand while keeping these three fingers in this position. So you can hold your wrist with the right hand and determine the direction of force. So if we change, what I'm trying to say, that if we change the direction of current, the direction of force will be opposite, right? Let's make things trickier, and let's join these two wires in the form of a rectangular coil like this. Okay, so what is happening over here, that in this side the current is flowing inward, so we can name it as positive terminal, because the current is coming and after passing through the coil is coming out from the left. So since it is coming out according to the conventional current, it is called negative terminal. Okay, and the two sides of the coil are experiencing the opposite force. So what will happen? These two forces working in the on the opposite side of a rectangular coil will start a torque effect. And torque, we learned in force chapter also in the first term physics, will produce a rotating effect. Can you guess the direction of rotation in this scenario? Like when these two forces are acting like this? Yes, the direction of rotation will be clockwise. So this coil will start spinning, and it will spin, and it will, after 180-degree rotation, it will be like this. So earlier on the right side it was positive terminal, but now after rotating 180-degree clockwise rotation, the terminals will be swapped. Positive will go to the left and negative is now on the right, right? What will happen then? Because of this positive and negative terminal shift, now current will flow from the left and come out towards the right, and because of that the direction of force will also change. Earlier it was upward on the left and downward on the right. So now after changing the direction of current, the force's direction will also be changed. It will be something like this: downward on the left and upward on the right. And because of that, the rotation direction will also be changed, and this time it will be anti-clockwise. And since it is anti-clockwise, what will happen? The coil will come back to its original position. Means after 180-degree rotation, it will come back to original position, and it will never do 360-degree turn. It will never complete the full rotation. But in motors, we know that the spinning effect is of complete 360 degree, or it takes a complete rotation to produce the motor effect, right? So this thing is not useful for us. We should make some changes in it in order to get a complete rotation. For that, what we have to do, we have to change the direction of the current every half turn. So if we change this direction, what will happen? The coil will continue to rotate in the same direction. And for that purpose, we need to improvise this circuit by adding a device called a split ring commutator. This split ring commutator, I know the name sounds really complex, but it's a very simple device. It's basically a metallic ring with two split ends on the both sides of the ring. So what is the purpose of this split ring? It actually swaps the positive and negative connections every half turn, and because of this change in connection, the current will also be changed. The direction of current will also be changed, and if the current direction will change, the forces acting on the coil will remain same in the same direction. And if the forces remain same, of course that means that it will be in the coil will be rotating in the same direction. I know this all sounds really complex, so I'm going to explain it to you with the help of an animation. So let's connect this coil with positive terminal and a negative terminal as shown, and the conventional current starts flowing from the positive terminal across the coil and comes out of the negative terminal. So we learned previously that if this is the scenario, the coil will starts rotating in the clockwise direction, right? But as soon as it is rotated by 180 degree, this positive will go to the left and the negative will comes on the right. But with the help of a split ring, what we will do, this left hand side of the coil, when it comes over here, it will no longer be connected to the negative terminal, but the connection will be swapped and it will then be connected to the positive terminal. And same goes for this side, right side of the coil. How? That's what I'm going to show you over here. Once it starts rotating, it will start rotating with the split ring, and you can see after the completion of 180 degree rotation, now this side is no longer connected with negative, but now it is connected to the positive terminal, right? In this way we have swapped the connection, and when the connections are swapped, so of course now the direction of current will also be changed. This direction is the same as the coil was having the current in the start. So the force direction will remain same, means the torque direction will such that it still rotate in the same direction, that is clockwise. So it will continue its rotation because of this split ring, because this swapping mechanism happens after every half of the turn, right? I hope you understand it. So this electric motor, we really use it in many devices like fan or an automobile, and the car, in our computer in CD drive or a hard disk drive, right, to read it. So you can see over here that with the two things, electricity and magnetism, we created a spinning motion, and this motion is really important in every device we use in our daily life. But if you notice over here, it actually has different speed, right? This one over here, this hard disk drive, it rotates at a very slow speed, whereas fan has a moderate speed, and automobiles really have very fast speed, right? So that means that in this electric motor, we need to take control over the speed of this spinning motion. So now we will learn the factors by which we can increase the speed of this rotation or even decrease the speed of rotation, just as we learned the factors for the motor effect of a current carrying wire, a single wire, right? Since it is produced by current, right, so the one factor or the very obvious one will be the current. Increase the current and then the spinning will be very fast. The second one can be adding more turns to the coil. Like here in the video I showed you only single coil, but in actual there are more turns in the motor. It's just very similar to this motor effect, and that I said length of the wire matters, right? So if you increase the length of the wire, so you have to make more turns to make it in a coil shape. right? And the third one, which is also very obvious, is magnetic field, by increasing the magnetic flux density and using the stronger magnet, right? So these are the three factors on which the speed of the rotation depends, and you can increase or decrease this speed of electric motor by playing around with these three factors. I hope you understand it by this video, but still I am know that it's a very tricky topic, so you must read it from your book as well. The page numbers are mentioned in the description box. And during this lockdown time, if you have some broken toys, and so you can take wires, and if you have a battery or magnets at home, you can always play around with these three things using your this knowledge, and can have really cool tricks. Thank you.